I wasn't planning on going live today. I've been piddling in the yard again, trying to burn off some brush, trying to get this rabbit pen finished, get what I can done, but hummingbird flying around. But today just kind of demands it. I don't know. I stay frustrated a lot. I do. Which leads me into my question of what is righteous anger? You see, I'm angry because, well, my parents and their parents and their parents all voted to make what we deal with today a possibility. To me, that feels righteous. Good Christian men voting so their religious establishment can operate as a tax shelter. Because women and blacks were not allowed to vote. So find somewhere else to place blame. It wasn't me. That was boomers and the ones before them. I try my best to not just be a angry individual. I do. But I do tend to suck the joy out of everything. Mostly because I don't. How you doing, Edgar? I don't get the same joy everyone else does out of everything they enjoy. Sorry. I do enjoy sitting around and talking shit. I got real fond of that while I was in the military. Learning how to make do with what you could get your hands on and talking shit about the system that failed you. Because that's what it is. You can't get bandages, you can't get, how you doing? Oh man, I'm doing all right. I hope you're doing the same. I hear Brazil is beautiful. That's somewhere I would always like to visit, but don't know that I'll get that opportunity. At this point, I doubt I could get a passport, just being honest. But I am angry with Christians. Their religion has perverted truth in more ways than one. All to build an empire here on earth that supposedly joining that empire means you get to join his empire, right? Like gatekeepers. indoctrinators, because you have to be indoctrinated into truth. They still won't accept that truth because, well, they've been indoctrinated into truth. Why they accept a lie? Truth be told, your Old Testament isn't the Torah, because according to Torah, there's 7 laws and 613 commandments. Or are the Jews lying about that? I'm from East Texas. I'm known in dark circles as the red-blooded Texas boy that no longer supports Israel. And those are rather dark circles. They deny my existence. Texas is all right. It's a twisted Zionistic state. Extremely twisted. I mean, our Attorney General let pedophile preachers off with minimal jail sentences because they're good Republicans. So I somewhat understand that. If you have to ask that question, Bill, you have serious issues. Just being honest. But the thing that really stirred me up this morning is this whole alpha male nonsense, this whole superiority complex that almost everyone suffers with at this point. Do I look gay? Do I sound gay? Gay technically means happy. Do I sound happy to you, Bill? You make no sense. You're one of them trolls that just spouts nonsense to try to distract. Let's get into the story of the creation of the USA, since you think it's so beautiful. We'll start with the event that really sparked it, the Boston Tea Party. A bunch of white men dressed as Native Americans threw tea off in the harbor, and then when their white masters attacked the Native Americans, they said, well, we don't know why they did it. They're crazy. And so the Native Americans joined the white men that were being forced to pay taxes in a war. That's called deception. On both sides. You deceived your enemy and you deceived your future ally. That's not a beautiful story. It's just one more simple evidentiary fact as to how deception has ran the show. The deceiver has ran the world, just as Christ promised. That's the true story of the beginning of the Revolutionary War. Whether you want to accept that or not, that's just a statement of fact as to how that started. I get freedom is awesome because without it, I wouldn't be able to sit here and do what I do. I don't deny that. I don't deny that one bit. But in several communist countries, you can do the same as long as you're inside your house. No, they won't let you erect a tax shelter to do it in. I don't blame them. You want to talk shit? Talk shit in your house. I'm in my front yard. But back to the manosphere of manhood. You're not a man unless you swindle enough people to have enough money so that you can prove your manliness. Or you got to go to a gym to prove your manliness. Or work 60 hours a week to survive, not just build up your own empire, but there's nothing manly about that. That's just a willingness to follow. Things got worse before the Vietnam War, I promise you. The idealism behind it, it was decent. I'm not going to say it was great. I'll never say it was beautiful. But the enlightened ideas did help to get us where we're at. Hello, Nina from China. Sorry. I hear China's actually rather beautiful too. My granddad went. He was in Korea as a Marine. I've talked about that before, but he went to China before he passed, and he said that was a beautiful place. Some of the most beautiful scenery he had seen in a long time. Of course, the entire family, well, that's all they would let you see. That's all they would let you see. And, well, go to Israel. They're only going to let you see what they want you to see. I mean, that's just a statement of fact. There's a discussion board on Facebook that I'm on that I like to chime in. I understand everything costs. You can't live for free. The rulers make things terrible everywhere. It's not just China. It's not just America. It's not just Europe or the UAE or Saudi Arabia or rulers just make things terrible. That's a statement of fact. Christ said to pray for those rulers. Pray for your nation's leaders. It doesn't mean to put your faith in those leaders. that's why I rag on religion in the manner that I do. Because they claim to lean on understanding, but all they understand is indoctrination. And your own greatness. Oh, I'd love to go to Brazil, but again, I doubt I could get a passport. How you doing, Carter? Again, leaders don't make things better. They just make things possible. The things that they make possible sometimes make things better, but for who? Hello, I'm not even Borisov. I can pronounce that part of it. And I'm all right, Carter. I'm just angry as usual. But you leave an ogre in a swamp, surrounded by filth, he's gonna stay angry. Right now it's not a swamp. Texas has been a little too dry for that. Lies make me angry, Carter. And, well, the fact that people repeat them so proudly. Like 19 terrorists took down 3 towers in New York. That's a lie. They had a hand in it. I don't deny that. But they didn't do it. But that lie landed me in Iraq. And Iraq didn't even do it. It was Afghanistan and Saudi Arabia. So that's what keeps me angry, Carter. The fact that influencers just play a role in a retarded soap opera and everybody eats it up like Alpo, Alpine, any other kind of fucking synthetic tobacco you can get, or any other synthesized product, because synthetic is better. These things are horrible because of the chemicals they add to them. You gotta have them preservatives. Every day is a holiday. Every gathering a banquet. Every meal a feast. I said one time, I finally understood that speech. And I do. To a level most people don't accept. That's fine. And I understand that. I joined the reserves in '99. I transferred to active duty in March of '01. Went to Colorado, Kuwait, and Iraq. Came back, went to Fort Hood in the end of '03. Went to Iraq in '04. Came back in '05 and got out in '06. Or the end of '05. I can't remember which now. It was right around the end of the year, beginning of the year. I think it was the beginning of '06. No, it was the beginning of '06. I'd have to, again, brain damage, seizure disorder, a lot of dark spots apparently, so memory's a little hazy, I'm sorry. And that was 20 years ago. And I still can't get over 2 years of that. Because it was a fucking lie. Bottom line, that shit was a bold-faced lie. And then you get into the supply issue of things, and Malcolm something or other talked about it yesterday on Mario Knoppel's little discussion podcast. You had companies like KBR. They came in and, well, they fixed that supply route issue lickety-split. How did they do that? By paying the enemies for a safe route. And then that money was used for God knows what. I mean, you'll never convince me it was for nation building. I mean, get the F out of here. And I know they did that for a fact. A brother of mine was eventually turned into a money man. For a time. He found his escape. And we've all been running ever since. Those of us that admitted what we were doing was wrong. Running our mouths, or just plain running. The fact that we've had to keep running, that keeps me angry. The fact that whistleblowers go to prison for blowing whistles, that keeps me angry. I don't care that what they say brings down empires. If it's true, let it be said. This world is ran by fake Christians, hypocrites that have no clue what they say. And that's just a statement of fact. Because, well, supposedly America runs the free world. That's something I've been hearing for 20 years or more. And America is ran by fake Christians, hypocrites that know not what they fucking say. They can recite a lot of beautiful things from a book, one that they claim to be truth. When I've already explained how the Torah differs from your Old Testament. So did they lie to those who gave you the truth, or are they lying now? You tell me. You're the one that's all knowing of everything. I'm just a retard pointing out the fact that you've been deceived. I'm here to tell you God is real. And so is judgment. You don't get to skip it and become one just because you believe hard enough. That's a lie. I pray for the day judgment returns on this pathetically wicked lot of humans, myself included, because I don't get to escape judgment. The meek shall inherit the earth. I'm not very fucking meek. But I am willing to admit I'm just one more retard amongst the rest of them. I don't understand humanity at all. I don't. I can look at you and pick you apart within 20 minutes of sitting down and talking to you or listening to you. Still doesn't mean I understand humanity. It just means I understand how the human brain operates. Why? Probably because I'm a fucking human. I've learned enough about wild animals that I can play with venomous snakes without being hurt in my yard, because I try not to kill them. They serve a purpose. That's something my family's actually kind of proud of. And I feel good for them about that, because, well, when they get a copperhead come up out of the woods next to their house, they can move it back to the woods without killing it. Got some cousins that like to try to put them in boxes and hold on to them and play with them, and people get bit. And it leads to some rather comical stories if you understand that these things aren't going to kill you, just make you really sick. But when you put a bunch of drunks together, they're going to do what drunks do. Especially a bunch of drunks that aren't going to go pay a doctor unless their legs are broken. Both of them at the same time. Another funny story. And the last one, not so funny. I had a stroke at work. Now he's sitting in rehab. Like I said, I live in a world of retards. I'm just willing to admit that. Your own pride is your issue. And I am angry because all influencers want to do is play a part. You get guys like Joe Rogan. Starts almost every episode he does with, I'm an idiot and know nothing, tell me everything. Why not go into it with a little bit of realism? Look, this is what I've been taught. Teach me something different. Because not long into his show, he'll start spitting out the things he's heard elsewhere, but he plays stupid through the entire thing. Like I said, one big fucking soap opera. Probably despise it because, well, my family's still upset they'll never know who shot JR. Much like JFK or Charlie Kirk. But boy, y'all like to soap opera the shit out of all that. So yeah, I feel I have a righteous anger. Everybody wants attention, but they don't truly want to stir the pot. They just want to keep it fluffed. Shit only burns if you stir it. That's a promise. So it's just simple proof to me that you don't want to burn the shit. You just want to play in it. So yeah, I feel righteous in my anger. But the heart can lie to you, right? It's a good thing my anger doesn't come from my heart. Because if it did, well, my heart would follow it back to the days I desired to be a juggalo and peel the faces off of pedophiles. But that life is not for me. No matter how much my heart may scream for it. You know, I like Sam Tripoli's take on a lot of things. Look, these people, they were born into that life. It was either accept it or die young, because these people are born to their families, and their families have serious issues. And they can play pretty for everybody. I mean, we've got a deacon in Winsboro, Texas, town I just left last year, but arrested for mishandling evidence that a teacher was sleeping with a student. Or, well, he wasn't even a teacher, he was a football coach, so that makes it so much better. I had a coach when I was a kid that shortly after one of the cheerleaders graduated, they got married. You can't convince me there was no grooming involved in that, but it's the right thing to do, because, well, he at least waited until she was 18 before they got married and graduated. That's that good Christian mentality. Who cares if he's in his 30s and he manipulated a teenage girl into falling in love with him? That's what men are supposed to do. No. So yes, I have a lot of righteous anger, in my opinion. My question to you is your anger righteous? One of the things that truly set me off this morning was this whole white people are the problem, black people are the problem, brown people are the problem, this person's a problem, that person's a problem, all because of how they look or whatever. No, it's an ideology of supremacy that is the fucking problem. Because without that ideology of supremacy, we would have never found ourselves in the position that we are currently stuck in. Well, we're supreme because we accept truth, and you should all follow our example. Well, your example was authorizing brutal slavery, taking over empires and converting their wealth into yours. That's what your supremacy allowed for. Because the kingdom is within you, and therefore what you do is divine because you accept. It's not the actions that get you into heaven. It's the heart in which it was done. If you're not willing to die for peace, then go die in hatred. Have the day you deserve.